Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful day. In this lesson, we're going to talk about a little bit more about shapes, different shape tools, and what you can do with them. So, as you can remember in previous video, we talked about different kind of shape tool like rectangle, ellipse, polygon, star, and etc. So, today I'm going to show you how you can change the stroke and color of your shapes. So without further ado, let's choose a shape tool, for example, polygon, and create a shape. So as I said before, you can click and drag and then freely change the corners, but if you want, for example, a perfect polygon, you should hold down the shift key and see what happens when I press shift key. Did you see what happened? Okay, let's make it a bigger and see what happens more clearly. So right now I'm going to hold down the shift key and then move this polygon. So as you can see now, it turns into a perfect polygon. So again, if you want a shape with perfect angles, then hold down the shift key and something like this happens. If you want to keep your center of the center of your shape in a place that you clicked and dragged, and hold down the Alt key. And as you can see, this happens when you hold down the Alt key. And you can also use them both at the same time. I mean, holding down the Shift and Alt key, and see what happens then. So let's create this shape and use the selection tool to select it. And as you can see right now, the inside of my shape is in white, or you can say that it has no fill color. And the stroke is this little line, black line, as you can see. So here's what you can do to increase the size, the stroke size. You can go over here, and then here in the stroke, you can change the color of your stroke from here. As you can see, I just change it to orange, and now I'm going to change the weight of the stroke. I put it to 10 just so you can see the differences. And over here you can change the fill color. Oh, I'm going to change it to light blue. So you can change the stroke and fill color from over here too, and you don't need to know which one is a stroke and which one is fill, because obviously you can tell which one is stroke just by looking at the color. It is obvious that the orange one is stroke color and the blue one is fill color. Alright, so let's delete this one. Now I'm going to choose Star tool and show you a bit interesting and cool. So I want you to click and drag and create star, something like this. So as you can see, I just created a star, but now I want you to delete this one, and then again click and select the star tool. And now I want you to while you're click and dragging, I want you to hold down the tilt key. And if you're wondering what is the tilt key on your keyboard, it's the key that has this icon or this shape on it. So this is the tilt key on your keyboard. It's usually right underneath the ESC key or escape button. Alright, so what I want you to do is to select the star tool and then hold down the tilt key and then click and drag and move your mouse around and create some shape like this. So something like this. So this is what tilt does when you hold down the tilt key. So it might not look like something cool or something interesting, but trust me, you can do some really cool stuff with this tool. So again, let's click Star Tool and then create something like this and see what happens. So now we have a shape, something like this. So I'm going to show you some cool stuff that you can do with this tool in some real project, and then you can decide whether it's worth using or not. So let's delete this one. So now I want you to do the same thing again. First of all, select the star tool and then hold down the tilt key, and then at the same time hold down the shift key also, and then click and drag and create something like this. So I'm going to use something like this and then go back a little bit and then move again and then something like this. You can just play with it and create some interesting shapes. So I'm going to leave it and see what happens. So this is what I've come up with. And as you can see, I think it's a cool shape that I just created. You can play with using the tilt key and then using the shift key, or using both of them at the same time, and create some really interesting shapes. So play with them as you see fit, and then you can see that as you gain more experience, you can create more interesting stuff. Alright guys, so let's delete this one. Alright guys, so there is another tool that I should mention, and that is Flare tool. So it is a kind of bizarre tool, and let's see how it works. So you can either click and drag, and as you can see, change. It has some kind of center or like a globe or something, and then different rays coming out of it. As you can see, you can create an effect something like this, and if you click somewhere else, you can see different globes leading towards it. So it's something like this, and you can either click and drag, or you can click and open this window that has several options. For example, you can change the diameter. For example, let's change it to 50. You can change the opacity. Like here, you can change it to whatever you like. You can change the brightness. You can change the number of, these options are for rays and these options for rings. So you can change the number of rays like this, change the length of them or their fuzziness, something like this. You can change these are the halo options. You can change the size of them, as you can see, or you can change the fuzziness. You can change the number of paths. Let's put it to, I don't know, 30, and change the size of them. You can change the direction. Let's see what happens if I click something like this. So this is what it does. And then you can click on OK, and now this is the shape that you end up with. So I will discuss what you can do with this shape tool a little bit more when we are working on some real project. But right now I'm just going to show you one of the things that you can do with this flare tool. So let's use the selection tool first of all, and then make this shape a little bit smaller. And now I'm going to go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and then click on Transform. And right here I'm going to change the copies to something like 40 and angle to something like 50, and then hit OK. Oh, I forgot to mention something. First, let's create a black background so you can see the differences more clearly. Alright, so let's put this to none, and this is to black. And now I'm going to send it backward. And now click on this, and again go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and select Transform. And put copies to 40, angle to 50, and then, as you can see, this is the shape that you get by using the transform. So this is kind of cool when you're, for example, creating an abstract background. You can use different number of these flare shapes and create some really cool background with some really cool colors. So that is it, guys. This is only one example of what you can do with flare option. We will talk about these tools more and more and repeat what you can do and what they are over different courses and videos. Right now, this is as far as we go in this video. So guys, we are done with this lesson, and see you in the next one, and have fun. Take care.